Yeah, that's the baby.
How old's the baby?
1 year.
Wow.
He's all the way in the living room. I'm in the room with the door closed.
He'll be a good football coach. Won't even need the microphone. He can the quarterback will be able to hear him from the sideline.
Yep.
All right, give me 1 second. All right, so we got this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. All right, let me send you this link. All right, check your Twitter. You got the link for the live stream.
All right, let me.
We're actually live right now. Here, I'm going to shoot it out on Twitter too. Join us. Your handle is NYC, I found. Boom. You ready?
Yeah, just getting this post out.
All right, so I'm Chris Champion. I couldn't be happier today. Booked this about a week ago, reached out to him, knocked on his DM door. It's probably got to be a busy DM door these days. He was a showcase on Yahoo in an article about people you should know. Couldn't be happier to have with us Feldon Richards from New York City.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. So tell your story. Where'd you start? What are you doing? How'd you get to the point where you're at today?
Woo. Well, I mean, like I always tell people, it got started. I got started completely by accident in the iPhone repair, iPhone flipping business. My son, my oldest son, who's 12 now, he was 8 at the time. He dropped his iPhone 6, he cracked it, and we had to take it to a local Boost Mobile store in order to get it repaired. So we took it to the Boost Mobile store and everything was fine. The phone was working fine. Couple days later, the home button stopped working. And for those of you who aren't very familiar with how iPhones work or smartphones in general, when your home button stops working, your Touch ID stops working. And if your Touch ID stops working, you can't update the phone. If you can't update the phone, that's it. It's done. You need to be able to update your phone. Otherwise, the phone's done. So we took the phone back to the store. And long story short, they told us, get the fuck out of here. We're not fixing it. And I was pissed. They didn't offer warranty or anything like that. They broke the home button. I learned that I'd learned that later after I learned how to fix iPhones. But a couple days later, I ended up buying him a replacement device, and I thought to myself, what if this happens again? What if this happens again and I have to rely on someone else to fix my son's phone? He's an 8-year-old boy. He breaks them a lot. He takes the outer box cases off. He doesn't like them. He wants to play his video games. He's going to break the phone again. So I decided to go online and do some research. I watched a couple YouTube videos. It didn't look too hard, but it looked hard. So I ordered some kits and I went to work. I started taking his phone apart. I initially was an independent contractor for a company called iCrack, who's now bought out by SquareTrade, and now SquareTrade does contracting for Apple. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, I was doing work with them, and I learned a little bit about iPhone repair through their training, but most of it was hands-on. I had to go through the process. You can only learn so much from watching somebody do it over video. The only way you're going to learn is to do it. And that's something I tell all my students. So I did it. I took this phone apart like 20 times. I learned where every little screw goes and, where it doesn't go, because there are places it doesn't go. It'll break the phone. And eventually I started repairing the devices and flipping them on eBay. So I'd buy a broken phone. I would throw a new screen on it.
How'd you buy a broken phone?
I'd buy broken phones on Facebook Marketplace. I'd put ads on Craigslist saying, hey, I buy broken phones. I'd tell my friends and family. I'd run ads. I'd do whatever it takes. My coworkers, if they didn't want to pay me to get the screen repaired, even customers, I posted ads, hey, I repair phones. Some people would just say, hey, do you buy them? Absolutely, I buy them. Give me the phone. I'll buy it, and I'll throw a new screen on it and sell it. And that's how I got started about a little over 3 years ago now. I've been full-time since May of last year, just running my repair business full-time since last year, May.
You know, it's funny, your journey of getting into this reminded me of when I was a kid, which was a while back. And remember the old days when they had a box TV, you know, big square box, had all the tubes back there?
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't have those TVs anymore, but one day, you know, I was a kid and I wanted to figure out how did the TV make pictures? Like how did this happen? So I literally on a Saturday took the entire box apart. I took the box apart, had all the tubes, had everything literally. I marked it to where I could put it back together. And I looked at all the pieces and I'm like, how does this make a picture? So then I just said, all right, I can't figure it out. But I put all the parts together and I had one piece left at the end, but the TV still worked. So my mom came home and she's like, what did you do? I'm like, I worked on the TV. She goes, there was nothing wrong with it. I said, there's nothing wrong with it now. She's like, well, what is that tube for? I'm like, it was extra. So it's funny because, you know, a lot of the things we can learn in life is just taking shit apart.
Yep.
I could take this microphone apart, probably learn some things about it. Now, granted, I will say that tube did actually mean something when my grandmother couldn't watch her shows and all of a sudden the color yellow didn't quite come in. Yep. I realized that was the yellow tube. But, you know, red, blue, orange, it was good.
Yeah,
so,
you live and learn.
Oh, yeah. And that's what you did is, you know, people pay for an education. They go to schools, they go to trade schools. But that same education you got by just buying a couple of tools and taking shit apart.
Exactly. That's exactly how I learned. You know, over and over and over again, I just kept doing it. I made some mistakes. I won't deny that. But the mistakes that I made
a couple extra tubes?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I remember one time I put a phone back together and I forgot to put a speaker in. You know, I'm wondering, why can't I hear something? And then I look to the right and the speaker's there. There are some parts in everything where you could maybe forget a screw or two, but if you lose too many pieces, things just start shaking around.
So talk about when you decided to start your masterclass and teaching people how to duplicate what you've done.
Yeah, so it was actually, I would say back in May of this year. I think May of this year, which was kind of like the anniversary. Yeah, May's a big month, right? I had my baby in May of last year, which is why I decided to leave work because he was on the way. It's my wife's birth month. So, you know, a lot of big things happen in May, but around that time, one of my friends reached out to me and said, hey, listen, I think you need to teach people how to fix iPhones. I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody's going to listen to me. I only make a couple $100,000 a year fixing phones. There's people doing millions, billions. No, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And she's like, no, yeah, you should do it. You should do it. And I'm like, okay, where do I start? So she pointed me in the right direction. I learned about Chris Johnson, who has a program that I ended up taking that kind of pointed me in the direction of how to put everything together and you know, how to promote it. And so I said, you know what, I'll do a pre-order. So I did. I launched my pre-order on, I think it was like May 17th. And by the end of the month, I'd say probably close to 100 people bought it. And when I looked at the order history, I'm like, no, this can't be right. And I showed my wife and she's like, people really want to learn this? I said, I guess so. So what ended up happening next was I do repairs for a living from home. I own a buyback company full time. So I get devices in from all over the world, you know, different countries, different states. I had to kind of put that on hold to focus on putting the masterclass together. And so I spoke to my business partner. I let him take over most of the work for a couple weeks as I put the content together. I was up late nights and everything, just recording these videos, editing the videos, getting the information, doing experiments because I wanted to make sure that the stuff that I'm saying is relevant. So I ran a Google Ads test to make sure that I could bring in X amount of leads with X amount of dollars for these people, put that in there. Ran ads on Craigslist, said, I want to make sure I could generate X amount of dollars with X amount of dollars, put that in there. By the time the experiment was over, I had
Wait,
made
you ran ads on Craigslist for your course, right? For their master course.
No. So as a part of the experiment to make sure that these guys are successful, I ran ads, fresh ads, because I don't even need to run ads for my business anymore. I just get customers. I ran fresh ads to kind of show people how much business I would get. I paid $5 to put an ad on Craigslist. I got over 60 messages. I couldn't even keep up with all of it. I met the first 2 people that I messaged are like, when can you come? I did 2 repairs, made $200, and I had to shut the ads off because it was too much. I'm like, okay, experiment done. I put all the work together and threw it in the course for these guys as well. And we were scheduled to launch on June 30th, and people just kept hitting me up. So I ended up launching it earlier than anticipated. Everybody was excited, and after that, even more people kept getting it. So it's been a huge success. The feedback is great. We have a 5-star reviews. We have a Slack group for people to communicate.
Now, is it a paid Slack group or just a Slack group?
It's a paid Slack group.
And you charge monthly?
Yeah, it's monthly. The first month is free, of course, because people are getting all their equipment together. They're going to have questions. They're going to want to learn stuff, right? I have people in there, hey, how do I quit my job? Like, that's something people want to do. It takes a plan. And that's one of the benefits of being in a community like that, because you can get those types of questions answered, and you can get the good side and the bad side of it. You can definitely do this full time and make a living, because the demand for repairs is ridiculous. I'm going to, in about 3 weeks, because I'm doing my training right now, I'm going to become an Apple certified repair technician. So I'm going to be it means that Apple is going to send repairs to me directly through SquareTrade. And I teach people in my class how to get opportunities like this. Maybe you don't qualify to contract for Apple because you're not as experienced, but a lot of people don't know there are companies out there that will contract you to do repairs. So it can be a repair shop, it could be a pawn shop, it could be a cell phone store. If you have enough experience and proper training, these companies will hire you to outsource the repairs because they simply cannot handle the demand. And that happens a lot of the time. A lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what are 3 things, as you look back on your journey, that stand out to you, that were things that allowed you to become successful?
I would say the number one thing that stood out to me that allowed me to become successful was my consistency. If I had not been consistent, I wouldn't be where I am today, because there were a lot of drawbacks. There were a lot of things I didn't know. There were a lot of mistakes that I made. I lost money. I made money. And just being consistent through it all. I remember at the beginning of the year, I took a really, really big loss, not even related to iPhone repair, phone buying. And I was on the phone with one of my friends, and I'm like, dude, this hurt. And I called my mentor up, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, this was $100,000, between loans, funding, a deal that went bad and things like that. And I called my mentor, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, you just got to keep at it. And at the time, I'm like, this is the worst advice I've ever received in my life. I just lost close to 6 figures. That's a lot of money. And you're telling me to just keep at it. You got to keep going. You got to figure it out. And I did. I mean, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, it's easy to take a loss that large and just bounce back. But that's the lesson that I learned. In business, you're going to have a lot of times that go good, and you're also going to have times that go bad. People say, oh, I want to quit my job and start a business so that I can have more free time. And you can absolutely have more free time when you own a business. But in the same respect, you can also lose time as you're going through the issues if you're not properly prepared. So consistency is the number one lesson that I took. If I didn't learn anything else, I would say just being consistent, because if you're not consistent, when the bad times happen, you're going to blow yourself out. It's just going to happen. So you have to be prepared.
Talk about your mindset. How do you start your day?
every day I wake up, I do a guided meditation. I go on YouTube. One of my friends got me started doing this recently because, as you go through your day and your business grows, there's always going to be more stuff to do. There's always going to be something to do. So I have a calendar that my friend Ed recommended to me, Woven, that I use to keep track of my day to day. And then I also use Trello to assign tasks to my virtual assistant and my listing assistant, the 100-day goal journal. No, I've never heard of that.
It's probably one of the best daily journals that I've found.
I like that.
It's literally keeps things very clear in front of you.
I like that a lot.
A lot of times, I'll send you the link to it so you can buy it.
I'll get that.
It's the best $9 you'll ever spend.
I'm gonna get that today.
The funny thing about it is, a lot of times people set yearly goals, like New Year's Eve.
Yep.
Oh, this is the year I'm gonna buy a new car, I'm gonna get rich, and I'm gonna get skinny, and you rip that pack. And But I learned that you got to take things and break it down to like simple stuff. Like for me, I try to break it down into 3 things a day. If I can get 3 things done a day,
yep,
that's like a win for me. I can actually quit early if I get them done early. And a lot of times, if you just break down your goals to 100 days and just say to yourself, okay, these next 100 days, I'm going to focus daily on certain things. And then at the end of those 100 days, I'm just going to look at that and I'm going to put it away and I'll say, that was those 100 days. Now I'm going to start a fresh 100 days about me. Because when you look at the whole year, it can get intimidating.
That's true.
It's funny you talk about meditating. I've done that for years. I spend my morning and I take 15 minutes and I just don't talk. I don't listen. I don't talk. I just, I could go for a walk with my dog or talk about meditating.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I just opened up the YouTube so I could answer the chat questions.
Oh, there's questions in there?
There might be.
Yeah, let's see if there's one. I don't see anything.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to have it.
So I think meditation is important. And it's funny because when I meditate, I thank God for everything I have. I thank God for my health, my happiness, my puppy, the roof over my head, the opportunities I've given, every single thing I can think of, because at the end of that meditation session, I realize that I'm a rich human being before I get started on my day pursuing the almighty dollar. And a lot of times people forget. You sometimes have to take inventory of what you have so that you know what you're getting is on top of that. Because everyone's like, oh my God, my life sucks. I need to like.
So true.
Yeah. And
true.
In your case, what are some of the things that you're thankful for that you already had before going in business?
Things that I'm grateful for that I've already had before going in business. I would say my family, number one, of course. I love my wife. We have 2 kids, 2 beautiful sons. My mom and my sister, who just beat colon cancer stage 3. So, I'm very grateful to still have her in my life because she's my big sister.
Jesse's happy that she beat colon cancer too.
that's awesome. So the number one for me is my family. I tell people that they're my motivation. I grew up very poor, for lack of a better word, in the projects, bad neighborhood. And one of my motivators my entire life was I always want to be able to put my family in a better place. I always want to be able to put my friends in a better place. That's a dream that I have. I always say when I eat, everybody else is going to eat. That's my motto. So just I've remained unchanged because that's something that I've always had. Even before money became a part of my life, even before owning a business became a part of my life, I've always been that kind of person. I keep in touch with my friends, my family. I see how everybody's doing because I want to make sure that, even when I reach the success that I want to reach, I still have people that I can fall back on and who can do the same with me.
As you look down the road, as you look down in your future, what are 3 things that you're looking to do to improve upon what you've already built? You've got the masterclass, you've got the Slack paid group, you've got your existing business. What are some of the things that you're going to do to try and leverage yourself? One of the best things I ever learned from one of the most successful people I know is he said, listen, in the digital world we live in today, you have to leverage yourself. If you can sell one widget to one person, that's great. But if you can put that widget up for sale on Amazon and sell it to 1 million people, that's even better.
Right, right. So I'm working on launching my own repair kit. There's a company out there.
I saw that the other day. Is that the silver suitcase?
Yes,
Do
yes.
you have it nearby? Can you show it?
Oh yeah, give me 1 second. I'll go grab that.
Yeah, go grab it. Now, while he's gone, we'll play a little bit of elevator music. Do, 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 do. No, just kidding. Does anybody out there have questions? Let's take a look. Not one question. All right, people. Wish there was somebody that had a question. Let's check Twitter. Nah, nothing on Twitter. I bet you Jesse has a question.
All right, here it is.
Time for show and tell.
So this is, can you see?
Yeah, I can see it perfect.
Okay, so this is not what it's going to look like as a finished product. This is kind of like just a demo, like a rough draft. But this is the heat gun. And this is what people are going to be using to remove screens and displays when they're on the go at customer homes. This is important because if you don't use this, then you're going to be too rough when you're lifting the glass off, and you can damage some of the wires that are connected to the logic board, and you can completely mess up the phone. So in all my videos, I always stress you want to use your heat gun. It's not required, but if you want to pretty much bring down the chance of damaging anything to zero, you want to use one of these. So I'm going to include this in my kit. Over here, we'll have people storing their LCDs. I always like to keep 2 of every color in stock. So that way, if there's something wrong with a screen or a display, I can just offer the customer another one, if that makes sense. That way I don't have to run back home. I always make sure that I have
of course,
some extra parts. This right here is suction cups. It's called an is-clack. Yeah, is-clack. And these are double-sided suction cups. We use these to take the display off after we've heat them up. It makes a very, very easy removal. So people are always wondering, how do we lift it up? This is how we do it. It's very, very simple. If the glass has too many cracks, we just go ahead and we put tape over it. So that way the suction cup has something to grip. This is another type of suction cup, which we like to use when the back glass is cracked on the phone, since it's easier to get traction and lift the display off. This is what we use to calibrate the new screen on iPhone 8 and up. This will also be included in the kit. This is our Phillips screwdriver, which we use when we're inside of the phone. If you notice, they're each color coded for easy tracking, and they come this way. This is our tri-point. This is one of the most important tools. I recommend having 1 million of these in stock, because if you lose it or it breaks, you can't do repairs. This one is the convex driver. It's not as important, but it is necessary for doing more advanced repairs. We don't use this too much at all. You use this when you're taking out the motherboard. And this one, I've never even used it. This is the pentalobe driver. This is actually the #1 tool, because this takes the 2 little screws at the bottom of the phone out. You have to use this in order to open the phone out. This is my next favorite tool, my little flathead tweezers, because I use this to take out the home button and the Face ID. And then my iSesmo. I use this to open up the phone from the sides and cut the glue. So that way I don't have to break my fingernails. This is good for the ladies. And that's pretty much it. This is the suitcase. Closes, it locks, you can carry it.
You can work on top of it too.
Yeah, you can. You can. It's actually a great workstation. You can put it in the seat, in the other seat of your car, and you can just put a little mat on it, and you can make it your workstation.
So what are you going to sell that kit for?
There are going to be several options. Just the suitcase alone is probably going to be net $97 or somewhere around there. It depends on shipping costs and stuff like that. I'm working with the manufacturer to get the cost down. We have to get my logo on it, things like that. We have to figure out the
What's
size.
What's your logo going to say?
I'm thinking it's going to be like iPhone Repair Academy, and then it'll have my company logo on it, NYC Phone Bar as well.
Well, you do other phones other than just iPhone, right?
Just iPhone.
Oh, that's all you do?
Exclusively iPhone. I get asked that question a lot, actually. People always ask me, why don't you do iPads? Why don't you do Samsungs? And to surprise people even more, I'm fully capable of doing battery and all these other kinds of repairs, but the only kind of repair that I offer customers is a screen repair. If a customer asks me to replace a battery, I will say no. If a customer asks me to do a back glass, I will say no. The reason is...
What is a back glass?
A back glass, I'm going to show you. This is the back glass. This
That's
part right
glass?
here. This is... Yes. The material is a little weird now. It's more glossy on models like the iPhone 8. But yes, this is a back glass, and this can crack. After Apple made the iPhone 7, when Apple had the iPhone 7 and lower models, the backs were metal. I think the iPhone 4 also had a glass back. And then when they made the iPhone 8, they reintroduced the back glass. So these crack. And so
which one is that, by the way?
This is the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It's the newest one out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I get high on my own supply.
Yeah, it's good to have the latest phone. I mean, how else are you finding that those phones are coming in as customers get those cracked also?
The 11 Pro Maxes, not so much. A lot of people crack these for whatever reason, and they want to hold on to them because the repairs are so expensive. Usually with the newer model, I notice the repairs start to come in closer to the end of the year. That's just been my personal experience with newer model phones. People do crack them, but I haven't personally come across as many repairs on this model as I did with the XS Max when it was launched. We are seeing a lot of iPhone 11s though. A bunch of people are cracking their iPhone 11s. Like I go through a couple every week, and
because they're going out protesting. Can't be protesting with your iPhone.
Protests, arguments, a whole bunch of things. I get crazy repair requests come across my tape. Oh, I argued with my boyfriend and I threw his phone. Can you fix it for me? Or my wife threw it, or my dog bit it.
This is a good question. What's the craziest, wackiest repair story you've got?
Oof. The wackiest repair story. This isn't a personal one of mine, but one of my friends got a note in a phone that said something like, tell my wife you can't fix it because I don't want her to find out all the messages on the phone. And it was like money inside the phone, and they opened it up. I saw it in one of the repair groups that I'm in. Stuff like that always crack me up. As far I don't really have I can't remember.
I'll be honest, that's a pretty good story right there.
Yeah. I can't remember one of my personal ones though. I'm trying to think. I've done one of my best experiences was when I drove out to, I think it was somewhere in Yonkers, New York. I got a repair request one day, and this family, they had a mansion, and they invited me in, and the ceilings, it looked like I was in Hogwarts with Harry Potter or something. And I was blown away because I'd never been into a home like that before. Their kitchen, like not their kitchen. They had a dining area that was the size of my apartment. So it was just one long table with like 20 chairs for the family to eat at. It was insane. So that was the best repair experience I had. A lot of my customers offer me food and wine and stuff like that. So mobile repairs have always been a great experience for me in terms of that. I don't have any really weird personal stories outside of the ones where people tell me stuff like, you know, my girlfriend did this or my boyfriend did that.
Yeah, it's amazing how text messages and all kinds of photos that you want, so I don't want. So I'll share a funny story with you. I'm playing poker at the Bellagio one night, and a guy is sitting there, and he brought a girl to sit with him also, and I thought that was his girlfriend. Turns out it was a side piece, and his wife, who was staying in the room, all of a sudden entered the Bellagio room, and the way she caught him was she was following him on Instagram, and he was taking pictures with his girlfriend, and she knew he was in the poker room.
Oh, man.
So I will say that there's some interesting things. The age of the phone and the age of social media, if you're going to get into a cheating situation with your relationships, you'd be wise not to put anything on that phone.
Yeah, seriously. You got to be like the guy from You. I don't know if you ever watched that on Netflix.
Guy from who?
You. There's a show on Netflix called You about this guy. He's just a ghost on social media.
Yeah, I like to be a little bit of a ghost myself. I think it's kind of funny. I've had my identity hacked 4 times. They tried to. Are you familiar with SIM swapping?
Yes. It's
a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Once they get a hold of your phone, they can reset your passwords, access your bank account.
They could do a lot. They could do a lot with that. I've had a bad experience with Cash App. I don't use Cash App anymore.
What was the problem?
I sent money to an assistant. It was like $3 to post an ad, and immediately after sending the payment, they somehow got access to my debit card. And I don't use my debit card for anything, but my debit card is connected to Cash App. So that's how I kind of put 2 and 2 together. And the charges were weird. They ran a background check on me to find out my address, and then they started buying stuff from Macy's and gas stations and ordered Domino's. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. So I called the bank and a new card.
Right around Christmas time, I had something like that where they bought thousands of dollars worth of Uber gift cards. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I guess, it's interesting. You got to be careful with your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, have you started taking Bitcoin for your business?
Not yet, no.
You should. Bitcoin's probably the best future currency that you could take. There's a lot going on in this space. Have you followed Bitcoin at all?
I just know it's up and down. I know that much.
It's up and down, but I will say it's an easy way to transact. It bypasses everything that you could possibly think of. It's better than Cash App. It's more secure. And you
I'll definitely look into that.
Think about this for a second. Most of the people buying your masterclass are probably in the United States, correct?
Yeah.
Imagine if you accepted Bitcoin for your masterclass, you could literally teach people how to do this globally.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
It is to take money from people overseas.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah,
I do have a couple students in the UK, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a couple students in the UK. I find that people from overseas, they always ask questions like, can I do this where I'm at? I'm like, hey, listen, do they have phones in your country? That's, I'm not even trying to be a jerk. It's true. If wherever you're at in the world, if they have phones, they're breaking them, you can fix it. You can start a phone repair company. There's no reason you can't.
And you're basically repairing the front screen, correct?
That's it. That's all that I teach my students how to do it all. But I tell them, if you really want to make big money in this business, just focus on screen repairs. Because
what do you charge for a screen repair? What does the average screen repair cost?
So in general, I will charge part plus labor. Labor for me is at least $50. I will not take anything less. I don't need to take anything less. If I'm not making at least $50 for my labor, I'm not doing the job. So let's say, for example, if a screen costs me $20, I'm going to charge $70 for the repair. I offer a lifetime warranty. I install a free screen protector. I give them a case. I give them a free charger if they need one. I hook them up. And I even offer warranties on my screen protectors. So there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get $50 for labor. Not to mention, I'm driving to you. I'm physically driving to you. So I do $50 plus part. Usually I'm able to get a repair done in about 10 to 15 minutes. So depending on the location, I could do anywhere from 3 to 4 repairs an hour, make a couple $100.
Do
Now, if
do you let people come to you?
I have people mail in devices.
That's smart.
Because I work from home, so I don't have anybody come to my home unless it's like a friend or a family member. I'll have people do mail in. There are some rare occasions where I'll do house calls now, but that's really only if it's through Square Trade. So even when I first started my business though, I was meeting people up in like a Starbucks, or I would go to their home. You know, if it was in like a nice neighborhood, I'd do that kind of thing. And that's mainly how I grew my business. But most times I'll have people come downstairs, hand me the phone. I'll sit in my car, especially during Corona. I'll sit in the car and I'll just do the repair in the car.
Yeah, so I think that's smart. What are some of the things that you plan to expand into, or is this just your very big focus right now?
You mean like in the future, what else do I plan to do?
Yeah, what does your roadmap look like?
I would say so for the phone repair academy, I do plan to introduce soldering, which isn't a skill that I currently know myself, but I can easily acquire. I want my students to know how to solder, and I'll also connect them with people who can help them get into display repairs, because they're I always tell people iPhone repair goes layers deep. There are so many layers to the business, right? I recently started doing something called LCD recycling, and a lot of people don't even know what that is. A lot of mobile repair techs don't even know that you can sell your screens and make money from them. They just throw them away. I know people who own cell phone repair shops who don't even do that yet. I spoke to a guy last week.
Wait a second. Are you talking when the screen is cracked after you've replaced it?
Mm-hmm. You can sell that for money.
To like a recycle place?
Yeah, because what they do is they'll refurbish it and then they'll resell it back to a store.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't think you could really.
It's a complicated process, so not too many people even offer it as a don't get me wrong, there are a couple people in the USA that offer it as a service to refurbish your LCD, but not many people are that great at it. So that is a very untapped niche, and not a lot of people recycle LCDs, and the ones that do make a lot of money. The ones that don't, they just can't compete, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I started doing that recently for some extra money. In the future, I plan on having, instead of selling them, just get them refurbished and reuse them myself, make more money that way.
So if you had to tell somebody 3 things that isn't doing your course right now, but is maybe thinking themselves watching this video, hey, I could do that. He's not a genius.
Yep.
What are the 3 things you would tell him to get started?
I would say get $100 as fast as possible. The way that I did it, I sold stuff around the house on eBay. There's a whole bunch of junk that we have in our places that we can literally put on eBay. And me, I don't like to think too much. Most times I sell stuff on eBay, unless I know what it's worth. I'll make sure that I copy a listing of the same item or something identical. I auction it off for a penny. I always do my auctions on like a Thursday or a Sunday morning, so that they end at a time when people are going to be online and my stuff flies off the shelves all the time. So I do a penny auction. You don't have to worry. It's not going to sell for a penny. Somebody's going to pay more. And I let people bid it all the way up and I sell it. That's how I'd recommend building the cash to get started. If you don't have money, if you have money, get the course. I give you all the tools that you need to order in there. You can get, some pretty basic stuff that will get you on the road with under $100. You could get a full repair kit. You could get a couple of LCDs for a couple of phones. It doesn't take a lot of money to get started in iPhone repair. You just need to be consistent. You have to be consistent.
And they need to buy your masterclass on the link below, right?
Absolutely. Click the link below, get the masterclass, and you
smash the link below.
Smash the link below. And I do offer post-purchase support. I'm accessible on Instagram, Twitter. My handle's at NYC Phone Bar. You can reach out to me if you need anything. Even if you aren't in a Slack group, I still want to make sure that you get the ball running properly. So I'll answer all questions and messages.
How old are you now?
I'm 29, going on 30 next month.
Oh, you're going to be 30 next. I was going to say we need to touch base when you're 30, but it's only a month away. So we'll touch base when you're 31.
Yeah.
And I want to see in a year from now how you've grown, because I think your mindset is spot on. I think you're in the right mindset where you need to be. And I think the people that are learning from you are going to be able to learn how to change their lives for the better. And even if it's just a little bit better, it's all about creating multiple ways to make money. And I don't think the iPhone's going away anytime soon.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, they've done well with their product. I think it's great how you focus very good. I think that's one thing I've learned from this talk is your focus is very laser focused. And when you do that in life, good things happen.
Yep. I appreciate that.
I appreciate this a ton. I think it's been great getting to know you. It was great seeing the box, the kit. What do you think you're going to sell the whole kit with everything? The heater, the suckers?
The whole kit. I want to make it an affordable way for people to make a decent profit. I'm trying to get the numbers somewhere where they're able to make like a 30 to 50% return on investment with it. But it's, in order to do that, I'm going to have to order a significant quantity myself. I'm thinking it'll be anywhere from $800 to $1,200, somewhere in that range, because what I plan to do is set them up with high quality displays, offer lifetime warranties on the displays for them, and I want to get them 2 of each display. So in the kit, you'll have 2 iPhone 6 displays, 1 of each color, all the way up to the XS Max. So you'll have a lot of screens in the kit. And, if you let's say you have, just 20 displays and you're making $50 each, that's like $1,000 right there. Now you have the toolkit.
What do the displays cost wholesale? What are those?
Usually a display will run so if you go on Amazon, they're like $60 just for an iPhone 6, I think. Yeah. I connect people so that they can get them for less than half the price. And even when I sell them as a part of the kit, I'm going to give them away for less than half the price. So I'm going to get them set up right. When they join the class, I connect them with my personal suppliers that I get screens from. All my students use them, and they'll definitely be in a position to win and succeed with the kit, with the tools, with the training. And another thing is I always update the course. So the way I operate is someone asks me a question. Hey, I didn't see this. Most things are covered in the course, but that's the whole purpose of feedback. If someone mentions something to me, hey, I think you could have explained this differently, or could you add this in? I'm open to it. In my introduction video in my course, I say, please watch this video first. Give me feedback. I need it. Without feedback, I cannot make the program a hit. I cannot make it better,
Well, I got to tell you, I think you offer a great deal of value. I mean, you look at what people are paying to go to trade craft schools or colleges or universities for the pittance of money that they pay you. Yeah. They not only get knowledge, but they also get to attach themselves to somebody that is a person of high integrity that'll be there for them as they walk this journey. And that having that shepherd is super valuable. And you are a great shepherd for people to walk with.
Thank you.
Yeah. Got to throw in a little biblical term. plus, a couple of years that beard will be down to here, and you just get a big U-shaped, a flock of iPhone Repair Academy students.
It's funny you mentioned the beard, because when I was growing up, I could not get my beard to grow. Like even in my until I was like 27, 28, I could not grow a beard. I've been growing this now for a couple months. This is getting a little linked. I got to get me some beard oil.
I got to tell you the bad news. As you get older, this grows out more and this grows out less. So it's not that you're growing out the beard because you're getting older. It's because you're pulling this out and this is going away. You're just offsetting the real estate. You're going from beachfront property to getting the beard in. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough. We're live. As soon as we're done, people will get a chance to see this, hear your story, see the kit that's coming out. I think you give people a ton of value. In fact,
Appreciate that.
I'll be honest with you, I think you're charging too little. So whatever people are doing with their lives, if they're looking for a side hustle, this is as good as one. I mean, I live in Las Vegas. I can't tell you how many people go out drinking, break their phone, and then want somebody to come to the casino.
Yep.
Your XYZ, come to this room, fix my phone. Hey, here's 100 or 200 bucks.
Yep.
And unless you've got people in Vegas, I would say, every major tourist city, Vegas, LA, Chicago, New York, people, they go out drinking, they go out whatever, their phone gets cracked, they need it repaired because you need your phone. You're like, you need it to get an Uber, you need it to figure out if your plane's taking off on time.
Yes.
We are addicted to our phone, and it's a connected device.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I get the question sometimes. I had someone ask me on Instagram the other day, why would someone choose me over a competitor? And I said, because you're available right now. That's it. Like, that's the number one reason. You're in the area, you're available right now, not 10 minutes from now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. You're available right now. Like right now, I can fix your phone right now. You just called me, I'll be there in 15 minutes, and 15 minutes after I arrive, your phone will be back in your hands. If you go to Apple, you have to make an appointment. If you go to a repair shop, they have a line.
That's if Apple's even open here in
Right,
Vegas,
if they're even open. That's
they
if
shut down all the Apples, took all the equipment out. You can't even go to the Genius Bar.
Right. So with that being said, we live in a world right now where people, they cannot live without instant gratification. That's why companies like Uber are exploding, because people want everything yesterday. And that's your competitive advantage as a mobile repair tech. You're available. You are instant gratification. That's what you're selling people. You're selling, hey, you don't have to leave your phone with some stranger. I will be there. You can, if you want to, you can watch me do the repair. I've even gone to people's homes and they're like, hey, my kid broke his phone. I'm like, hey, come here, kid. Let me show you how to do it yourself. And they love that. You can do so much more being a mobile repair technician. In my
opinion. How to do this?
Yeah, of course. My son knows how. He was my first student. My 8-year-old son can fix an iPhone. He has to fix his iPhone XR later today because he cracked it again.
Wait till he gets into high school. He'll run his own little gimmick out of his locker.
Yes. Him and his uncle are going to start doing it.
Kids will come up to him and say, listen, man, I need this fixed. He'll be like, listen, I got history class. I can have it back to you, after 7th period.
Yep. I had a few community managers reach out to me for youth centers. They want me to come and do an event. So in terms of future planning, that's definitely something that I plan to.
What's interesting? When things get a little bit normal, you should come out here to Vegas. And what we'll do is we'll literally talk to the local school system and invite parents for $45 to come in and have their kids learn hands-on with you what to do. And literally, they could literally buy the course and meet you in person. We could get 1,000 people in. Now you got $45,000, and people can literally watch their kids, because this is a business that a kid in high school can now build e-commerce or a digital business that gets them understanding how to build a business and how to manage things.
Absolutely. I'm down to do that 100%.
Well, listen, super thankful for your time. Glad we had a chance to talk. And you tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at NYC Phone Buyer. You can find me on Twitter at NYC Phone Buyer. I'm on Twitter a lot more than I am on Instagram. So at NYC Phone Buyer, just like it says, NYC, which is New York City, Phone Buyer, one word, at NYC Phone Buyer.
This is Masterclass Millionaires Uncensored. We learned a ton on this talk. You were very transparent. Can't thank you enough. I think people will learn a ton from you. You're doing something very positive to help people improve their lives.
Thank you.
Peace out, brother.
Peace.